Okay, friends, I miss y'all. This has made me really sad planning this lesson because, like, there's so many things I want to do with y'all and hear your feedback on. And then it made me sad thinking about we're not going to have our little class anymore in like almost a month. So it's been a rough morning. And let's get this back. By the way, I look really rough, and you're just getting the real deal today. Um, okay, are you ready? I want you to get a sheet of paper out and a writing utensil. And I want you thinking, because like what we're going to be studying about all this week is about like grammar, and because that goes into structure. When we're trying to pick out tricky parts of books that structurally, this is a big part of it, okay? Um, so in your book, and I know it's not going to be the most exciting reading, but hopefully I'll prime your brain and call up things like from, well, I almost said 1980s, but y'all aren't even near. Back in the 2000s, hopefully we'll be calling up some knowledge. So, grammar. I'm going to put up at the top, grammar instruction. So just write that. And then I want you thinking about my experience. So I put my experience. And then over here I'm going to write my students' experience. So just quick together. And guys, in this lesson, when I say like talk, create an example, share, y'all are just going to pause the video and because I'm just not going to stop. My to-do list is terrible today. I have so much to do, so I can't stop and wait. Okay, so now what I want you to think about this. This side's going to be left empty. This side is what you're working on now. So I want you to do like a minute of think time on your own, and then you guys start sharing out. So how was grammar or English taught when you were in school, and even like in college? Think about that, Comp 1, Comp 2, or maybe you did it at high school, whatever. So just make you a list, and then as we learn today, we're going to start adding to my students' experience, okay? So pause, think, and talk. All right. I don't know what you girls say, but I bet it's something kind of like mine. I remember Miss Marion Washington, who's still actually teaching amazingly. We pretty much just underlined, labeled. It was worksheets. We had a book that we could not write in, so then we had to copy the sentences. Bless my soul. Copy the sentences, and really it was about fixing errors. Yeah, like with punctuation, you know, like the comma would be missing, so I'd have to copy the sentence, and I'd have to put the comma in where it is, or make the capital letter, or whatever. Maybe proofreading marks, maybe you did that. And that was pretty much grammar. Oh, it was like one topic per week, a topic a week. And of course they had a test. That was just never exciting. Okay, so now what I want you to do is pull out your packet, or the packet that looks like this. I mean, I just did not know how to do this. Just always Zoom with your students, because this is terrible. I could have made this a lot more exciting if we were in person. Oh well, we'll survive. All right, so looking at grammar as a key to sentence construction. What? As a key to sentence construction? Well, what was it a key to here? I think in our experience, it was just a key to recall. You know, like know your nouns, build a circle on them, underline them. diagram sentences. Oh, maybe y'all were Shirley English people. I wonder if anybody was that. So over here, our students, our grammar instruction is going to be, it's going to be about building sentences. So the reason we're doing it is for sentence construction. We want good, solid sentences. Okay? So when I look at my first bullet, you know, it says, it's talking about our experience, or at least mine. That says it should make up a very small part of grammar. Okay? So maybe over here, I can put label, identify. I mean, that is important for the kids, but that is a small part of instruction. Y'all are going to rock your cooperating teachers in your internships world when you roll out this stuff. But hopefully you change them, because the way they're teaching it is probably boring and ineffective. All right, look at the second one. It says, good grammar instruction involves an understanding of the way words and phrases and clauses interact with one another. So it's all about DOK, guys. So our students, we're going to move up that level of DOK. We're going to make sure that they understand how to use the words and how to, what does it say? How they interact with one another to create meaning. So I've got DOK, understand how to use words and how to connect words to equal meaning. No teacher has ever taught me that until I went to that workshop with Jeff Anderson. And he changed my world. What is coming to you today is a guy I found last summer, and I did like days and days of PD with him. His name is William Van Cleve. He is hilarious. Very opinionated on politics. You can follow him on Facebook. Just don't do his personal one, but his professional one. But this is pretty much his workshop, and I mean, he has credit for all these ideas and a lot of the words. So, but this is the best thing I could bring to you. We're going to hit Jeff Anderson again on Thursday. Emma, I know you don't know much about Jeff Anderson, but it was the approach last year, girls. We were in COVID. I was on the pocket chart on my couch teaching you, and it was like Emily, it was the Clifford examples. Like we were creating a lesson plan where we invited kids to notice, where they created examples and stuff like that. We'll review it on Thursday, because these are the approaches that I want you using. You could use either or both. Okay, so then it says why we explicitly teach sentence structure. Look, I did teach in all capital letters because we are truly teaching our kids about grammar. So the first bullet is why we're doing today. Today is not that exciting, and it's just reviewing a bunch of parts of speech. And if we have time, I'm going to get to the point where we talk about clauses and stuff like that. If not, we'll do it Thursday. But it says research shows that instructors, you, must know much more about it than they do, okay? So that's what we're reviewing. When I did this workshop last year, probably the part that we'll have to do next week, I was like, man, I've been wondering that for a long time. I've just never taken the time to research it. Oh, this bullet point that I just love, and I have battled it out with teachers for years. Grammar as a means of identifying parts of speech is ineffective as a method of teaching writing. Guys, grammar is only used for teaching writing or speaking. That's the only reason why we use it. So we cannot lay in circle and diagramming sentences world. Just absolutely not. We're not copying vocabulary words. We're not boring our kids. And we're not just going to live in diagramming sentences world. Can you tell that I have passion about it? The third one, that it must be taught as it applies to generating phrases, clauses, and sentences. So our instruction is the end goal, or really the goal of the lesson, and they will be doing it quickly, is to be writing, to be using their grammar in writing. All right, you can read that last thing. It's long. So, working memory, guys. You know, how much can they handle on their table? I don't want them stressed about their grammar. That should be off the table. It should be coming naturally, almost like from the unconscious, okay? Their punctuation, I want it they just know it and they use it. I want most of their table filled with ideas and how to organize their work, like things like that. So they can truly be focused on writing and not be caught up with the little things. Okay. Parts of speech. Here is what we're doing, girls. We're focusing their attention on the role. Circle it. The role a word plays, or the job, circle it, a word has in a sentence. We are past just identifying. It's why. What is this word doing? What is its role? Why am I using it? Why should I use it? These circles are terrible, y'all. I'm sorry. Ooh, I need some. Michaela, I need your light, and I need a filter. Or Michaela, I need your makeup, and or just really any makeup almost, and a filter. Sorry, I digress. We are going to use grammar to build their writing and their comprehending. So when they're reading, it goes smoothly. All right. So what, I forgot to tell y'all. I've got notes on my computer, so I make sure I stay on track and don't talk about my dark circles. So I may be looking at those on and off. So girls, this is, so what does all this stuff mean for us? So when a student says, or if we catch ourselves saying, what part of speech is this? We should focus their attention and our attention on what is it doing in a sentence? What is its job? How is it helping the sentence? So maybe we could write down here, our response should be, what is it doing in the sentence? Like, what is its job? What is it doing in the sentence? The job. Okay. So I want you to come over here to our little chart. Our student's instruction is going to be all about the job of the word and how it helps convey meaning. So, all about the job and how it helps, the word helps me write and read. So I put, grammar's just all about the job of the words and how the words help me write and read. How grammar helps me write and read. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Okay, and this is why. So look at your little words. You've got man, jump, sock, rebel, and smooth. Hold on, let me get to my notes so I make sure I tell you right. What I want you to do is I just want you to go right underneath it, and I want you to jot the part of speech that it is. Okay? Go. Okay. So I bet you said that man is a, tell each other, what did you say man is? That it's a noun. What if I say this? Man the harpoons. What is man there? It's a verb, right? Or if I said, that man I'm married to, his name is Brock. Now that man is a noun. But what we can't, okay, never mind. I'm going to what I want to have you do. So look at jump. What'd you say jump was? I bet you said jump is something you can do, so it's a verb. So how about this sentence? The ski jump scares me to death. It's still a noun, right? No, I mean, that is a noun. You were thinking probably, and I was thinking at the beginning, verb. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. So jump could be a verb or a noun, like the ski jump. All right, let's look at sock. You may have done this one the other way too, I don't know. So like sock as a noun, like no one in this house can put two pair of socks or two socks in the same room. They take them off in different rooms. But what about, my example is, you should sock plenty of money away for retirement. So what is sock there? That's all about a verb, right? Because what is it doing? You should sock away. That is something you do, okay? So this one is one I came up with this morning on the way to school. Lawson and I were having this discussion. So it depends on how you read this word. Is it a rebel or is it rebel? So, you know, a rebel is a noun, but to rebel is a verb. So when kids are reading, they've got to be thinking about the context of the sentence. And then smooth, you probably said an adjective like, ooh, this milkshake tastes so smooth. But what about me this morning smoothing out Collier's hair before he left? That is a verb. So thinking about this, girls, I mean, it's just, we can't just be focused on, oh, man's a noun. No, what is man doing in the sentence? And then I can decide what type of speech it is, if I even need to, but then how it can help my sentence. So now you try it. Go to your second page. And I want you girls to create use plant in two different ways. You'll use plant, picture, and sew. Try to do it in at least two different ways. I think two is probably max. Yeah, go, pause. Okay, so my sentences were plant, like the plant in the corner needs water. Right there, looks terrible. So what's the plant in there? That's a noun. I will plant seeds for Lawson this spring. I will plant, well, that's a verb. You probably had those two. It's pretty easy. Think about picture. My favorite picture in this house is a New Orleans painting. My favorite picture, that's a noun. Or when we bought our first house, I could picture it renovated. Brock could not. That is a verb, okay? So, so the word so. I say this all the time. Do your work so you can eat. Do your work so you can play. So what would so be there? Do your work so we can eat. That's a conjunction. The day my pants split, my pants were so tight. That is would that be? I think that's an adverb. Yeah, I think it's an adverb. So anyway, just two different ways. Just trying to prove the point that we need to be thinking about the job of the word, not just the word. Okay, so in your next section it says, here's what works. Really, I'm not touching much on this today. Thursday should be pretty fun because I'm going to touch on Jeff Anderson. Emma, I'll teach you more about it in Language and Lit. If we have time, if not, I'll just teach you on someday. And then the framework that I learned from this guy, William Van Cleef. It's kind of like ICE, like an acronym for that. I think you're going to LOVE it. So you got two options, but really they boil down to the same thing. So look at your things. It says, hold on, let me get to my notes. So for true grammar instruction that works, we're going to keep instruction. Do you see that? Today's option relies on these factors, both do. Keep instruction brief, clean. That means like just not so layered. Like think about the table. Brief, clean, and straightforward. Just be so explicit. The second bullet says, keep identification of various elements in pre-written sentences. Now, girls, that's what we're used to. Our teachers provided us sentences. We fixed them. We diagrammed them. It says, keep identification of various elements in pre-written sentences to a minimum. Because remember, I'm over here on DOK. I'm not on recall. All right, the other one, it says focus your primary teaching time toward, this is when it makes it so much fun. We want kids generating and discussing good examples. Oh, what's the key word here? Generating and discussing. They are doing it. We are doing it together. Okay, and here's the biggie. You can just check yourself. At the end of the lesson, or even in the middle, if your students have not, here's your writing down, generated examples or practiced the concept in speaking and or writing, you and they have missed the boat. So I'll read what I have written down. It says, and here's the biggie, at the end of the lesson, if your students have not generated examples or practiced the concept in speaking or writing, you and they have missed the boat. Really, it's you. Well, really, it's them too. So I found that little cute visual. I thought that was funny. But it's like you and they have missed the true purpose of grammar. It's all to help us sound great, to be able to write great, to be able to communicate great, to be able to read well. Um, remember way back when we were talking about how important oral language is, that it has to be in our oral language before we can read it really well, and especially before we can write it. So we have got to get good grammar being used in their speech. That's why it's good to prompt, to rephrase what they're saying, and then say it again. Okay. Here, I'm going to stand up so I can get my credit for my hour. Maybe you need to stand up too. But you're going to flip your paper over and get ready to chart. I'm going to be going through lots of examples, and this is stuff you know. But we're really going to be focusing on that job, okay? I've got examples for us to look at, but we're going to be creating examples too, and then thinking of notes. So I made you a triple T chart, and you can see it's laid out by this. We're going to do our part of speech. You can't do the POS. Some kid will get you. In the middle, we'll think about the function or the job. And then the last thing is we're going to create an example. I'm going to try to be quiet and let y'all come up with examples. And then maybe we might have to do some notes. When we get into the deeper stuff, like, oh gosh, conjunctions are kind of tricky. Linking verbs are a little bit of a mess. Sometimes we'll just make notes. Okay, are you ready? So get your triple T chart out. All right. So in your first block, our first part of speech is a noun. I mean, that starts out so early. Kindergartners can do that. You can have such fun. You can do picture sorts. You can have them generate ideas. Nouns are fun. So what's the function of a noun? It's to name a person, place, or what is it? Thing. And then I want you to put a star and put idea, and then put 3rd grade and up beside it. So a noun really is a person, place, thing, or idea. But we don't roll out idea until 3rd grade. It's too abstract to do. So look at my example here. The teacher found peace with some hot chocolate and silence at her house. I wanted to put Christmas tree in that sentence, but I was like, well, I have to let it go sometime. I have taken them down. I did it before March 1st. So the teacher found peace with some hot chocolate and silence at her house. What are the nouns? What are you thinking? People, places, things. Teacher, peace. I guess I'm going to do hot chocolate as a whole because that's the drink. Silence, house. So, you think of an idea. What could be an example? And let's try to do a little bit of a complex one. So pause. You girls talk. Make you a sentence that has at least 4 nouns in it. I'll push you hard. Okay, let's go to the other basic. The verbs. So what does a verb do? It states an action. It tells an action or a state of being. That's our linking verbs. So I'm going to put states or tells an action or a state of being. So let's look at our example. The cat purred because he was happy with his snack. So what are our verbs in this sentence? What words are telling us about actions or the way or the state of being, like what's happening? So it's so hard to do linking verbs with kids. Purred and was. So you girls stop, make a sentence. It has to have 3 verbs in it. Maybe 2 action and a linking, or 2 linking and a verb, whatever. So create a sentence and write it down. Okay, linking verbs. I'm just going to put to be in my function, which is so hard. This is the only time I'm giving you permission to have kids memorize. Yeah. We don't want them memorizing lists of prepositions or adverbs or adjectives or nouns, but they can memorize these. So like over here, am, is, are, was, were, W-E-R-E, were, be, being, been, be-in. So, let's see, I think I wrote a note down over here. Let me look at my notes. My others, I've got like 2 things going on here. So, maybe to help kids, like on 2B, I have been talking 31 minutes. No wonder I never finish a lesson. That amazes me. That a linking verb describes the subject by connecting it to the predicate. You just have to be careful when you're telling this to kids because you kind of get tricky. Remember, they can memorize these. So stop and create an example, and this time you only have to have 1 linking verb in your example. Okay, your next thing, I love teaching this part of speech, and it is adjectives, okay? But remember, we're focused on the job. So we'll put adjectives down. The function of it, you probably remember this. I bet this was drilled in your head at school. It describes, and sometimes people say modify. It describes a noun, okay? Or, oh gosh, a pronoun. I almost forgot that. So let's look at our examples. The young child pulled the red wagon. So think about it. What is the job? We're describing a noun. We're describing a pronoun. So what adjective did you find? What's being described? Oh, the child is being described. And how is the child described? It's young. So maybe I think I'll just draw me a little arrow. The young child. That's where, I mean, like I'm using young to describe child. Do you see any others in that sentence? It's like the red wagon. Red is describing wagon. Oh gosh, the next one. The brownie was rich and delicious. So let's think about this. Delicious is describing the brownie. Is that it? No. Rich is describing brownie too. We need some ice cream with it. Okay, now I've got some sentences and I want us to tell how many adjectives in there and why. So the young girls were nervous but confident. I'm wondering who I was thinking about when I wrote that sentence. So what are the describing words? Or, yeah. Young, nervous, confident. How many? There's 3. And all those words are describing the girls. Okay, look here. The frightened ladies yelled because of the bug in loud voices. So how many describing words? How many words are working description here? Is it 2? I meant to put the disgusting bug. That would have made it 3. All right. So loud is describing the voices. Frightened is describing ladies. All right, the young boy called out to his father to watch the final basketball game. So let's find the adjectives and think about how many there are. Okay, so I found them. How many did you find? I found 3. Can you find 3? I miss y'all's voices. Young is describing boy, so draw your little hump arrow. His is describing father. And final is describing basketball. All right, so I want you to create, you girls together, or you could do each one and then share them. But you need to create an example with 3 adjectives in it. Okay, so our last one in this section is adverb. And what are we focusing on, ladies? We're focusing on the job. So, an adverb describes, I'm putting it on my chart, or modifies, changes. Well, not really changes, influences, whatever. Just say describes. Describes a verb. And if you're teaching older kids, you can say, or another adverb. Okay. Let's look at my examples here. Collier quickly jumped through the crowd of players. I'm looking for words that describe verbs. So what did you find? Well, the verb is jumped. And what word describes it? Quickly. So again, I'm going to go hump over and make sure this text is not about my lunch order. It is. Hold on. I can't press pause because I'll lose my video. Actually, I'll press pause and I'll do video 2.